Again, we're quite close. This is where we've tried something against Modena, which led to a proper overtake. Oh, we're very late on the brakes. Welcome to the scenic Ile Notre Dame in Montreal, where round 4 of our 1991 Formula 1 World Championship in Automobilista 2 takes place. The actual race here in 1991 was quite the interesting one, as this was the first one not won by Ayrton Senna, who for the first time had to retire that year because of a technical issue. The win instead went to Nelson Piquet in the Benetton, which was his last win in F1 before he pursued different goals like collecting the longest controversies abstract on Wikipedia for racial, homophobic or just plain rude insults towards other drivers. The win should have gone to a much more likeable chap in Nigel Mansell, but he slowed down too much on the final lap to wave through the crowds, and he embarrassingly stalled his car in the process. He was still classified 6th, just one spot ahead of our guy Pierluigi Martini, who just fell short of yet another points finish. I set myself a bit more of a conservative target, which is a top 10 finish again, considering we didn't finish 2 out of the 3 races so far, and as you see, you won't see Martini on the first page of the starting grid as he only managed to qualify 18th. Still, very much looking forward to this one, as I just like racing on this track as we go green in Montreal, Canada. And here we are now on the grid just behind Johnny Herbert in the number 12 Lotus, so a new driver on the grid. Forgot to mention that during the starting grid. He's in for Julian Bailey, who has been fired by Lotus and will be in that car for the remainder of the season. That is Herbert. As we are now trying to move up a few positions already in the opening sequence of corners. We are now alongside Lehto in the Dallara, first of many chicanes approaching now. Lehto backs out of that one, and we are now up to P15 properly, and following the Tyrrell Honda of Satoru Nakajima. Now, overtaking should be much more feasible on this track compared to the last race in Monaco. And immediately we're getting a good slipstream, and we've seen how much quicker our car is in a straight line compared to the Tyrrell Honda already a couple of times this season, so we make easy work of Nakajima already up into 14th. The next car is Ivan Capelli in the Leighton house, as we are now going through the hairpin, probably one of the best overtaking spots on this circuit, and now this is the fastest bit of this track. A bit different back in the day compared to these days, because there is this little right, left, right, high speed combination in there. Nowadays it's just a straight, which makes overtaking a bit more difficult, but the chicane has been remodeled ahead of the 1991 season. Yeah, this is much more a heavier braking zone, so you may see a couple of overtakes, or attempts at least, there as well. Before that was a much faster corner that didn't promote overtaking as much. Yeah, this track just got a little bit better, I feel, with that 1991 version. But what we're already seeing and experiencing here is that overtaking may not even be that easy for us, because again, I'm struggling getting the power down out of corners. Now, this issue was especially pronounced in Interlagos already, where it struggled a lot, and that always happens if you have to get the power down when you're not already properly on a straight, like for example here, and that allows the cars ahead of us to get away quite easily. I may have to look into the setups there a bit to see if I can fix it. Oh, some sort of pebble just launched in the air there, causing a bit of a distraction into the hairpin. Again, not a good exit out of the hairpin, so yeah, no chance here on the high-speed bit that leads us towards the final chicane of the circuit. Capelli, however, is having a little look against Modena. Oh, and there it was, again, trying to get the power down, having a little bit of a slide, so I need to be careful with that. But I also can't be too cautious, as Capelli now makes contact with Modena. His car got a little bit unsettled there, and we make easy work of him. He's still there, but backs out of that move. And well, we didn't have to do much for that, but I'll gladly take it. Up to P13 now. So yeah, a bit different than what I would have hoped for, because so far we haven't really been in a position to challenge anyone past lap 1. We can keep up with them, but yeah, keeping up and overtaking someone, it's a different pair of shoes. So is there even something you say? Probably not. However, out of the hairpin once again, I'm trying to get the car properly pointing straight to get on the power early, but it just doesn't work. Modena just flies away from us there. Ahead of him is our teammate Morbidelli. But this is looking a bit better. We're now close into the final hairpin chicane, and this looks like a much better exit. We haven't been as close before, and we're even getting a little bit of a run. I don't dare to brake very late. We have made a few bad experiences with that this year already, so better safe than sorry. Well, but another overtake was just around the corner as we are passing Emanuele Pirro that is facing the wrong direction here. So again, nothing we really had to work for. Here's the replay, what's happening. And oh yeah, he just gets on the curb, gets the power down a bit too hard or too early, and spins around. And that is a pretty easy position gain, and he even rejoins behind his teammate, behind Mauricio Guzman. So a lot of places lost there for the Dallara, and we're still pursuing Morbidelli and Modena. Modena now having a look into the final chicane, doesn't really try anything, but he has compromised his run there a little bit, which may allow us an opportunity. Once again, we have a look. We are alongside, but we chicken out of it. There was definitely more possible here. Now around the outside here, but it's never going to work. And again, on the power, the car gets a little bit twitchy, a little bit nervous, and we have to back out of that move. And even though you should be able to overtake a bit easier here, I am already getting a few Monaco flashbacks now, where yeah, we were also sitting behind a Tyrrell for quite some time, looking at that rear wing, thinking about getting an electric shaver, which I don't need, by the way, because I can't grow a beard even if I try to. But we are getting away from the race now. Let's focus back on what's happening on the track, as once again, very close to that rear wing. Flat out towards the final chicane, maybe this time, and again we are quite close, and again, we are almost alongside there. Modena even defending a bit, once again compromising his run, and there was a little bit of a twitch there. Tried to be as early on the power as possible, but again we're getting a good run, but not as good as the lap prior. And this is now getting increasingly frustrating. Lap 8 and our efforts to move up the order have already stalled. Oh, we're getting a good run towards the chicane here. Late on the brakes, release the brakes. There is a bit of a lock-up. Oh, Modena stays ahead for the moment, but runs with two wheels on the grass there. We're very close ahead of the hairpin, and surely now we are alongside, past, and Now looking at the different wing, we need to get a good exit out of the hairpin. It's not a good one, but good enough to keep Modena behind. So we now set our sight on towards our teammate Gianni Morbidelli. That's the third time we go head-to-head on track. For now, at least in the 1v1 battle, we always had the upper hand. Let's see if this is any different here today. We know he has also quite the quick car in a straight line, so that won't help us much, but we get a good exit, and now the slipstream helps us. And this time I'm a bit braver on the brakes. This is looking good. He's still alongside us though. I leave him the space, and well, there's just no grip here on the outside, and Morbidelli stays ahead. Very well defended by him. There's just no chance to move past another car in that corner, so we have to back out of it. And for the moment, we are staying behind. Again, we're quite close. This is where we've tried something against Modena, which led to a proper overtake. Oh, we're very late on the brakes. The front right is locked. There is a bit of a flat spot now, but it's okay. Not too bad. We run through the grass there, and we now have to take a bit of care because Modena is having a little look there behind us. Ooh. But we stay ahead for the moment, and now we have to catch up to Morbidelli yet again. And we did that. This is now lap 12. And we are getting closer and closer again. But as I said, I expected overtaking to be a bit easier than what we've seen so far. Though I must say I like it. I prefer it when you actually have to work for an overtake and it's not just, yeah, I'll just race past on a straight, thank you very much. We get too much of this these days. Still, however, it's always exciting to see cars being able to race on track, so I'm not complaining about DRS, because watching back some races of old, sometimes it was really ridiculous, cars being like 2-3 seconds a lap faster, but just not finding a way by the way, what a run we're getting into the finals again. We're very late on the brakes, the tires on the front right once again standing, but we make it past on the last opportunity there. Yeah, that was lucky. I say that was lucky there. 7 seconds we're behind Moreno now, the next car. Keep that in mind. But let's just see how lucky that overtake was. In the car it felt very unstable on the braking, the car, so that was what I was referring to when I said that was lucky, because I felt like I was gonna lose it there. But actually, in the replay, that looks like quite the clean move here. So, nothing we could have done better there. So we're finally passed and released. And now we're looking at something different. This is Andrea De Cesaris in lap 14, who is running in P4, incredibly. Once again, this is looking like a good race for Jordan. He's even ahead of Ayrton Senna, but look at what's happening now. He's lost like 1.5 seconds in just 2 corners. Senna easily breezes past, and now that is Jean Alesi also looking for a way past the Jordan, who unsurprisingly comes into the pits because he had some power unit issue and had to retire, unfortunately. Unfortunately for him, fortunately for us, because we move up yet another spot without having to do anything. And we've gained 2 seconds on Moreno, but the bad news is, look in our mirror, I'm already defending, because Ivan Capelli has also moved past the cars that we have passed earlier, and is now trying to attack us. He's really close there, and he can really go quite quickly, so yeah, he's putting us under pressure, and with around 11 laps to go now, this race has gotten a bit interesting again, because we're really properly gaining on the Benetton ahead of us now. But at the same time, we have to look in our rear mirrors. There you can see Moreno making it round turn 1 and 2. We can already see him, so this is a bit of extra motivation for these last laps of this race. And another 2 laps later, we're really able to see Moreno there going through the hairpin to properly identify his car as a Benetton. So the motivation is as high as ever. But, you know, when there is high motivation, you're pushing hard, and we are pushing hard. There is the risk of a mistake, and exactly this is what is happening here. Quite the embarrassing one. Catching a bit too much of the second curb there in the chicane. Too early on the power, and then we spin it round, and that is now all of our hopes of catching Moreno. Down the toilet, Capelli's passed, Gachot in the second Jordan's passed as well. And well, I've showed a lot of replays of overtakes and positive moments for me lately. Here is a replay of me messing it up. Facing the wrong way, and then a very, very awkward 3-point turn. But at least we're still ahead of our teammate, who's just come around the final corner now. Well, and then it was just about surviving, bringing the car home in one piece, because there's no way we're catching up to anyone, especially not driving like that. And it's quite the same thing. Again, a bit too much of the curb, getting a wheel even over the curb, and then we kind of get caught out by it. Again, half a spin there. Still ahead of Morbidelli, and this is what counts. Your teammate is always your first opponent. And that might sound like I'm sugarcoating it, and yes, I'm definitely sugarcoating it. A lap later, it was also time to move out of the way for the race leader, which is Nigel Mansell, and we do that here. So officially, we are now a lap down, but yeah, not really much we can do about our results right now. Just hoping for someone to maybe retire ahead of us to meet our target of P10. It was not to be. This is us in, well, our final lap, which is a lap less than the official final lap, as we are lap down, coming towards the line and finishing the race in P11. It was looking like a solid race. Maybe not points, but that was never expected, starting from P18. It could have been much better. There was a chance for us to finish P8. But, well, it is what it is now. So let's look at the point scorers of this race, and it is a very dominant Williams 1-2. After a double retirement in Monaco, they are back on form. Ayrton Senna, third, 40 seconds down, so a crushing defeat. Prost, Berger and Lazy complete the top 6, and the Drivers' Championship is still wide open, as Mansell has retaken the lead, just 2 points ahead of Ayrton Senna. Patrese, Berger, Prost and Piquet complete the top 6 here. We're still sitting in 9th, so we're still on target, but the Lazy's probably gonna overtake us in the next few races, so we really could use another points finish. In the Constructors' Championship, Williams reclaim the lead from McLaren. Ferrari moves up to 3rd, out of Jordan, Benetton and Minardi still in 6th. And that has been it for the Canadian Grand Prix 1991. For the next race, we will return to Europe as we go racing at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. Subscribe to not miss that, leave a like if you did enjoy this video, and I hope to see you all the next time. Until then, goodbye.